Hey class, Mrs. Anderson here. This video is going to go with 6.2c, dividing rational expressions. So first remember that when you divide by a fraction, like if you were to take 2/3 divided by a half, that dividing by a half is actually the same thing as multiplying by 2. So when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So then you would get 4/3. So you're thinking, how many groups of 2/3 fit into a half, or how many 1/2s fit into 2/3. It's kind of confusing with fractions, but the point is that instead of dividing, you change it to multiplication and you multiply by the reciprocal. Or some of you might have learned it as keep, change, flip. So keep, change, flip. So you keep the first fraction the same. You change the division to multiplication, and you flip the second fraction. And then you simplify just like we did in the previous lesson. So 48 and 36, let's see, they're both divisible by 2. They're both divisible by 4. So 36 and 4 would be 9. 48 and 4 would be 12. And then I could divide those again by 3. So 9 is 3 and 12 would be 4. Okay, so then I'm going to multiply across now. So 4 times 5 is 20, x squared. And then I have 3x, then y squared times y is y cubed. And then x squared, remember, is x times x. So I can actually take out one of the x's. So it's going to be 20x all over 3y cubed as a final answer. Okay, so keep, change, flip. Keep the first one the same. Don't do anything to that. Change division to multiplication and flip the second fraction. So we're multiplying by the reciprocal. And now when you multiply, you just need to factor each section. So I can't factor the 3 and just make it one big fraction essentially. This piece right here, I can take out a 4, be 4 times x minus 2. What multiplies to -6 but adds up to 1, be -2 and 3. So this top trinomial here will be a x minus 2 and x plus 3. And then the last one here, I can take out an x, and then I'm left with an x plus 3. So it looks like I have an x minus 2 and an x minus 2, and then the x plus 3 simplify to 1 as well. So that leaves me with a 3 on top and a 4x in the denominator. And that is as far as I can go with that one. Okay, so we're going to keep the first one the same, change it to multiplication, and then flip the second one. So remember, you can write any fraction as the numerator over 1, which we'll have to do in this one in order to flip it. So then we have 8x squared plus 10x minus 3 all over 4x squared. So we keep the first one the same. Then we multiply by the reciprocal, or keep, change, and then it'll be 1 over 4x squared minus x. So 8x squared plus 10x minus 3, I have to factor, see if it factors. So this a times c is -24, and it has to add up to 10. So 12 and -2. It's not just x squared though, so you do have to either reverse distribute or use the box to help you figure out the factors. So you have the 8x squared, and then your diagonals, you have the 12x and the negative 2x. That gives you the 10x in the middle and the negative 3 at the end. And then on the outside, let's see, 8x squared and 12x have a 4x in common. And 4x times 2x is 8x squared. 4x times 3 is 12x. And 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. So that top one will factor to 2x plus 3 and 4x minus 1. Now 4x squared doesn't factor. More times, I guess I can just do times 1 on the top there, and then I have I can take out an x out of this one, and I'll be left with 4x minus 1. So then both 4x minus 1 simplifies. And that's it. So on the top I have 2x plus 3. And then on the bottom, 4x squared times x will be 4x cubed. And that's as far as it goes. Okay, the last one, I have a string of 3. The first two I'm multiplying, and then the last one I'm dividing. So for the first two, I'm multiplying, so I'm not going to change that at all. I'm just going to change the division to multiplication, and I'm going to flip just the one that follows the division sign. So you're multiplied by the reciprocal, so you only flip the rational function or the fraction that's immediately follows the division sign. So you leave the first two the same because they're being multiplied. And then x times 2x plus 3, and then we have the times 1 times of the x minus 2 over 4x squared minus 9. So we can maybe make that all one big fraction. So I have the x minus 2 over x minus 2 will simplify, and then 4x squared minus 9 is difference of perfect squares. It's going to be 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. So then I have a 2x plus 3 and a 2x plus 3 that simplify. So then I have x over 2x minus 3. And that's it for that one. All right, thanks for watching.